Excuse me, Mr. Speaker, Aiden. Oh, Aiden. All right, that looks good.
All right, let's get settled in. We begin with roll call.
All right, Naya.
Here.
Usab.
Here.
Aiden.
Here.
Mo. I'm here. Taya.
Yeah.
Miriam. De Silva. Chinmay. Tanvi. Oh, Chinmay's on Zoom. Chinmay.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Hi. Tanvi. Okay. Audrey. Here. I like this back. Thank you. Aisha. She's on Zoom.
Here.
Oh, hi. Eddie.
Here.
Here. Sashi. Here. Aiden Shaughnessy.
Here.
And Ben.
Here.
Ale. Here. Jack Moriarty.
Here.
Banya. Here. Brian.
Here.
Yadu.
Here.
Cameron. Okay. Drulu. Hi. Ion.
Here.
Stanley. What's here? Maybe stop. All right. Amira. Here. Samyan.
Here.
Charmaine. Here. Sola.
Here.
Okay.
Here.
Sophie. Here. Ryan.
He's coming.
Okay. Advit. Ishal. Here. Okay, Tanisha. Here. Rafa. Here. Megan. Here. Michelle. Gustav.
Here.
Hi. Jess. Or- Good part. Austin. Minna. Here. Kennedy. Andrew.
Here.
Jeffrey. Max. Anjali. Here. Leo Soga.
Salutations.
Oh, sorry, shit. Alexa. Gracie. Here. Anna. Madiha. Here. AJ. Here. Nina. Here. David. Catherine. Zainab. Moralake. Emily. Here. Melinda. Hasra. Kaylin. Anaya. Alex.
Here.
Simon. Jocelyn Vargas.
Here.
Sophia Chen. Pablo Cherkis. Simi. Ruhan. Sebastian.
Here.
Oh, hi, Ruhan. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi, Sebastian. Okay. Savans. No. Khalil.
Here.
Sama. Ritnik. Qasim. Aryan. Here. Jocelyn. Madeline. Jack Terrell.
Here.
Nicole. Aditya. And Pablo Tang.
Here.
Alright, any members of the public? Hi, Mukhtar. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure. Wonderful. Okay, we'll have 10 minutes of open forum with preference given to members of the public. If anyone has anything.
Yeah, I got something. A University Council on Wednesday, Penn Dining is going to give a focus presentation, and I wanted to ask the UA, I think some members did initiatives related to that, either last year or years past. Are there any general topics that students are interested in hearing from Penn Dining or questions related to that?
These are the green to go boxes, stats from last year. After they rolled the QR code.
Awesome.
And we also have a meeting with business services in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Any other topics for new business?
I think Leah, did you?
I realized it was more of a communications topic, so I'll save it.
Okay, perfect, sorry.
No, thank you.
Have any motions?
Motion to allow social forum.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion clearly passes. Open forum is elapsed. We'll enter the.
Yeah, hi guys. Hope everyone is doing well. It was so great to spend such close bonding time with you all yesterday at retreat. For those of you who weren't there, you missed out. But okay, so I want to start off my section by talking a little bit about my involvement, exec's involvement, and then my and Musab's involvement overall with this entire like compact statement response process. So on the 7th, that was I think a Tuesday, last Tuesday before fall break. Musab and I joined a working group with 7 of the other schools that were invited to sign the compact. And then from then until the 10th, working drafts were created. On the 8th, Musab and I were invited to meet with President Jameson. I had reached out and asked to have a meeting with him, mainly because in his original statement that he sent out on that Sunday, he didn't say anything about getting feedback from students. So I feel like that was an issue because I feel like we are the largest stakeholders of this compact in general. So we met with Jameson on Wednesday. The topics that we talked about were actually confidential, but in general, we just voiced our concerns, what we heard from the student body and from you all as well. Then on the Friday, this is the other schools signed on and UA executive voted to sign on. One of the schools that didn't was UT Austin. That was because like of their bylaw processes. Then on the 13th, Musab and I got a DP inquiry. I submitted a written response. You can look at it if you would like. Then Musab did a phone interview. On the 15th, the DP article was released. I addressed this in the Slack, but it was pretty much framed as broadly speaking for the UA. And to clarify that obviously I do not, and I was very intentional with making sure that I said that these were all my opinions on my own. You can also see that in the written response that it's linked there. On the 14th, I signed onto a letter to the editor of a New York Times article. It's linked at the bottom. On the 16th, Musab and I were invited to a meeting called by President Jameson University Leadership. It was really cool. It was at the guest house on 38th Street, and it was like basically just Jameson standing at the front of like at this glass podium and just talking about what he was going to do. And then that was at 11 a.m. Then at 1 p.m. he announced that he was going to be declining the compact to the rest of the body. Then on the 16th, later that evening, I released an all-school statement that was also posted on the UA Instagram. And then the New York Times article was released. Letter to the editor, really talking about Mark Rowan and his involvement. I'm curious to know what you all's thoughts are on this process, any questions or concerns, and also the statement that I sent out, because I don't know if you guys saw, I got torn up on side chat for it. So not sure if anyone else has any other things in general. I can take feedback. I know Musab has some things to say as well. I don't know if you want to share it now, Musab, or okay, share it later. Okay. Anyone have anything to say about the state? Everyone, I'm assuming, broadly read it. Okay, you're like,
Meeting with like from ISAR, so you'll see.
Yeah.
Like with ISS, there was a gap fill representative there, and one question that was brought up was like, would there ever be like a joint statement with GAFSA UA? I thought that was redundant because we already have a statement, but like, would you consider statements?
yeah, obviously. That process would look a lot different. So for one, like I sent it out originally as like an all school email, and then it was literally just posted onto a graphic for the Instagram. So it wasn't like a super formalized statement, but it was just an email. If we were to do like an actual joint statement of some sort, and it depends on who signs onto it. So if it's gonna be on behalf of like the UA, obviously we'd have to bring it, present it, whatever. I talked to Ludwig, who is the GAPSA president, about potentially doing one. So it's not completely out of the question, obviously. We were just a bit more quick to respond. Any other thoughts, Audrey?
Well, more of a question. I know you mentioned the side chat posts. Are you guys like, how much credence do you guys give that kind of stuff? But like, does that really like have an effect on how UA like considers moving forward with public statements?
So I mean, I think there were a couple of things that I think there were a couple of things that happened there. For one, some of the complaints were like the UA sends out too many emails. I send out one every 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, so I don't really foresee that being an issue. I'm not going to change that. And they're usually purely informational based, so like that's that. Me sending a statement like that is not super common. I think the way that the statement was phrased, mainly being this like the subject title being like the UA's role and how like their university decisions could have been framed better, definitely could have, because it does seem like we like took this entire onus. But I think my like goal there, and I think also I worked on this with Musab and Taya. The goal there was just to say how like we did advocate, we did like bring student concerns, because originally there would have been no student consideration besides like if you went out of your way to like go like ask for a meeting and they potentially would have given it to you. So that was what I wanted to go for. It could have been executed better, that's for sure. I don't think I'll change that much. I think I'll just be much more careful in how I do frame those things moving forward. Hopefully there's no more like incidents this year where I have to do a statement like that. But you never know. Things could change tomorrow. So
Thank you.
Mo.
So about being framed broadly to the UA, do we reach out to them or like inform them that there's like some kind of false bit of information if they framed it as speaking at the UA? Because clearly like you and Musa gave say this on your own behalf.
Yeah, I mean, they just said, I think it's almost like natural for them to just like generalize and say it's the UA. I just think that on my part, it's important for the due diligence to be that like, I did say like, this is not the entire body's opinion, before before that article was written. I think could have responded to it, but there was also a couple mistakes. Like for example, like there was someone who's mentioned to be in the meeting that was not, that also had to be fixed. And I think, I don't know what the DP's process is for handling things like editing it or whatever, but I don't know. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Mukhtar?
Member.
Well worded. And I
Okay.
thought that it was necessary to show that despite Jameson's email, students were involved in the process and were able to give feedback to him. And I guess on a broader point, moving forward, how are we going to maintain that sort of student presence in those conversations, especially as, you know, more changes could come from the federal administration? And I think students would want to know that their representatives are also advocating.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And I think that was actually something that we heard as well, was that like, we just like released the statement. That's something that we also heard with the statement that exec posted on the UA Instagram with the racist incident, was that like we didn't like concisely say what we're going to do moving forward. I think in the same, I did mention that we're going to continue to make sure that we are at the table, that I mean, maybe I should have been more specific saying like, oh, we're gonna reach out to Jameson every single time something happens like this. I don't know. But like that is my intention, is for it to make sure like moving forward with these conversations, like I already asked for more like more, oh my gosh, what is the word? More meetings, more frequent meetings with Jameson, moving forward as well, because besides, like, we only meet with him as a cabinet one time a semester. And that's not obviously feasible, especially in these times. So I think just making sure that we are more included in these things and hopefully being more proactive instead of reactive, but like if I have to be reactive, whatever, what I'm going to do is make sure that I reach out every single time that we're having to react to something and make sure that we are at the table, or at least say that I did reach out. And then after that, that's not on me. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Okay,
Before, if we could please put the laptops away. It's, no, it's a busy time, but we should be moving through this. So if you put the laptops away, be grateful. And for people on Zoom, if you could have your cameras on as well.
yeah, and also just really briefly, so this article, I actually didn't even know what the article was like truly going to be. Oh, dag nabbit. Okay, just kidding, I'm not gonna pull it up. But it's like Trump's troubling compact, and AAUP Penn, which is the professors union, wrote something on it. That was like the main thing, and then there were a couple of like various letters to the editor and to the paper in general. So the letter that I signed on to with the UVA student government president is at the bottom. Okay, so all the meetings I've had since fall break. So Penn Forward undergraduate working group, again, confidential. I had one with Michael Scales. We went to the Penn bookstore, Starbucks. He bought me Starbucks. That was nice. And then Musa and I met with Katie and Carew regarding that incident the day after it happened. They basically just outlined the response process, and they both had held meetings with Umoja and I think APSC. Is Simon in here? Okay, I think as well, APSC. The investigation will be confidential. We won't know anything if there are any updates and like in terms of like how the university is responding to it, because it's a confidential process. So that's pretty much all they're able to give us. Like whatever you guys see is also what I'll know as well. Then that compact invitees meeting, it was with Brown, UVA, University of Arizona, UT Austin, Dartmouth, MIT, and Vanderbilt. USC was also reached out, but they didn't respond. And then cabinet met with Spark, which is the spiritual religious, the chaplain's office is what I met with. And we met at the chaplain's office. I had a midterm this day, so I was not there, but the topics that were discussed were the Faith Fund and new SAC model, the vacant chaplain's office space, peace sign as a permanent vigil space, project updates, campus climate and support, existing future campus workshop spaces, and then dining partnerships. One thing I do want to highlight before I open up for elaboration is the project for the permanent vigil space. So you guys know like the big peace sign, so massive peace sign that's beside to the left of Van Pelt. Is everyone familiar? Chandler, who was last year's treasurer, he graduated, but he'd been working on that project for a while, and it's basically just like, so usually when vigils happen, people will host them at the love sign. But we wanted to do like a more a more official visual space, so I think they've pretty much converted that space into an actual thing, and they said like that was completely like UA like led. I think there's like lighting and sound out there now, so like in order to like I guess like have like a speech or like microphones or anything like that. So that was really nice. Does anyone else have any questions or want me to elaborate on anything that's here? Audrey.
On the challenge office space, please.
It's up to the provost office in terms of what happens there. I think that's all that was said about that, but if anyone else wants to add in,
So there's no like ideas yet?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Andrew, did you have something, or was that it?
Same question, so like just the provost, it's like unilateral deciding, or is it like do some hall committee or like more stakeholders who might be?
I'm not sure if there are more. Oh, they said that they are open to student feedback, so I'm sure that hopefully there is like some type of working group that's like, or a meeting where they're having these conversations. If not, I don't know. Just reach out. If anyone does have any specific ideas, let me know, and I can reach out to them. Any other topics elaborated for Spark? No? Okay. And then Musab and I met with President Jameson on that Wednesday, 10/8. Then we had UC steering, which is also confidential. Then later that night, I had the compact statement response drafting meeting. It was Brown reps, MIT, and myself. We just were basically like drafting a response to the compact, and then at the end of the week, we combined them all and like met with everyone, asked if everyone was okay with it, yada yada. Then cabinet met with Provost Jackson on last Monday. We talked about the university's involvement with handling faculty conflict, research funding amongst funding uncertainty, university sponsored on legislation and Supreme Court rulings, such as the one there, and then transit access and institutional neutrality. Noam V. Vasquez Perdomo was like, it was one that said, and like I think in LA, like I just can target anyone just for speaking Spanish or looking like they are. So does anyone have any like immediate elaborations they want me to do? No. Okay. And then also obviously all these minutes are in the drive as well, which you guys should all have access to. Cabinet and ISS assessment as well. Talked about government shutdown and visa processing changes and updates, financial assistance for visa costs, legal partnerships for immigration support, student communication outreach, funding and access to the Forerunner program, social media screening as a part of the visa screening process, and kind of like what ISIS advises them to do in this process, and then concerns around the White House compact. Are there any?
Yeah, could you expand on a legal partnership for immigration?
Yeah, I also had midterm this day. Does someone else from Tab want to?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, could you expand on a legal partnership for immigration?
Yeah.
For
Emma, you want
Yeah.
to that?
Yeah, they said that they have relationships with two law firms. They cannot give advice as an office, but they can basically refer you to these law firms and can help you with your legal concerns.
Yeah, I think they briefly work with like Penn General's Counsel as well. And then they like just refer students to pro bono immigration lawyers.
Is it like it's not paid for necessarily, they just refer them to?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just referral. I don't think it's paid for, but I could be wrong.
Those two law firms won't represent the students because it's a conflict of interest representing the school and the students, so they just refer them pro bono people.
Well, like, what's the difference between that and like the legal services? Like, is there any way that we can kind of like?
So like the general counsel or the legal services that Penn has, they're not immigration.
Like general counsel.
They don't
you mean?
do, no, she's talking about like legal services from.
Like advice?
So like the legal services lawyer that we have is not an immigration lawyer. So he does not do immigration cat cases. I don't know what cases, I think he does, like, oh, you know what cases he does.
Yeah.
So, but he's not an immigration lawyer, that's not really his area of expertise, so I feel like or at least their answer was they refer to these, you know, either like Philadelphia law firms that do immigration law or other outside law firms that either will do pro bono or ones that you can pay for. And they said that, you know, you can interview them, like the student can like interview for whomever they think can represent them best. This best, like here to know.
Cleo,
Is that information public on their website or not?
the fact that they have that they can refer you to pro bono lawyers.
Yeah, like is it that it's mentioned on the ISSS website?
I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. If you just look up ISSS UPenn law firms, there's a website called Penn Outside Legal Counsel Program. They have like two selected law firms, which is Global and Clasco, what they talked about, and have like links to them. But if you reach out to them, they can like serve as a connector between both.
Yeah.
I know they also had events where they brought in the lawyers from the school to answer questions.
give advice to students.
Oh. Will?
Another question, what about the forerunner and the budget?
I'm pretty sure they said that there's no dedicated funding to the
Yeah.
forward program.
So it's like not something that they're looking at anytime soon, cause so no more of the rationale was that they're.
No, they're still having it. It's like, the question that was phrased to them was like, is there like, financial support available?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty expensive program, I think is what it is.
Well, you have to like fly out to countries and.
Yeah.
Rob.
I mean, I'm kind of just like about the legal thing, because we do have students emailing about like immigration stuff, and all that we kind of do is refer to ISSS. So what basically happens is that we refer to ISSS, and the ISSS refers them to like the outside office.
Yeah,
Maybe we can cut out the middle.
Just.
yeah. Maybe reach out to them and see if
Yeah,
they just-
probably.
You have to contact, I said formally.
Like stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, geez, something else I wanna mention, and like in general, question we always ask them is like how they're communicating with students, and they always just say like they're very adamant on trying not to send out any alarming messages, so they're not typically super proactive when sending out messaging. Which we've also voiced concerns about that because it gets like perceived as like they're not necessarily there for students where they should be, so it's a little frustrating, but I think they did say they plan to explore more webinars on like the TN visas, right?
Yeah.
Andrew, Lou, and then just do more targeted outreach for some of the affected regions, I think that they haven't been super.
For TN visas, Career Services has a website dedicated to it.
Okay, I also asked.
Yeah.
ISSS.
Great.
They said,
Okay, any other questions? Oh, Lou.
Maybe a question for like ISTAR or like future ISS meeting, are they like looking into like some sort of financial help for students who cannot afford legal fees? And like they cannot go pro bono for some reason.
So we had the director of financial aid, was actually there at the meeting. Basically, she explained that it's very hard to give additional funding because the laws, and there are some questions about this because there's federal laws that require that you only give funding, like institutional funding, to aspects of someone's education. So like you can count housing and food, but they said that they couldn't classify like legal assistance as something that's directly connected to your education. And apparently that's the same for international students, even though they're not receiving federal aid. But that was the answer that she gave. She said that they're looking to try to be creative, and they're trying to see if they can have workarounds and give gift cards or have some sort of way to get around that. But unfortunately, at the moment, they cannot give any financial assistance for that.
Any other questions on ISS topics? Okay, and then I met with the Council of Undergraduate Deans, Civic House reps were there. They were just talking about like what the Civic House is, opportunities for collaboration and volunteer opportunities. If anyone's looking for like ways to get involved, aside from like Netter Center, Civic House does a lot more than just, they don't really do as much as the schools as the Netter Center does. They do a lot more like actual, like more civic community, like they have several other different types of programs, so it's a really great place to look into. Met with Jameson, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where he just announced his decision and his rationale. So one of the things that I do want to like highlight is like his reasonings and what he kind of said, like, so he sent a letter to the secretary, the White House, and basically he said like there's some places that were outlined in the compact that we're already in alignment with, such as like the 15% international student cap, where you currently sit at 13%, things like 13.4%. Reinstating the SAT requirement, we already did that. We started doing it, I think, last year's admission cycle. And then also just in general, it obviously goes against a lot of our university values for several reasons. And he keeps saying like, we don't want preferential funding. We'd rather it be merit-based and how the administration is presenting it to us. Any questions on that? Okay. And then UA exec Hillel reached out to us and invited us to a Shabbat dinner. It was great, really great food. Upcoming meetings, Elizabeth and I have our 1-201 with Carew tomorrow. I also have Katie Bonner tomorrow. Cabinet is meeting with the Harvard Law School Dean of Admissions. She reached out and wanted to talk to a small group of students. She mainly just wants to ask about Penn student life, but I also just wanted to use this time to bring up there is the Harvard Law School like the admissions info seminar that's happening on Tuesday, 5:30, I think in Huntsman. I sent that link out on an email, so check it out. And I'll send it in Slack again. University Council on the 22nd, and then Cabinet and Penn Athletics. Need agenda topics for those. This was an interesting meeting always because like you wouldn't typically think that we'd interact with Penn Athletics as much as we do, but there are opportunities for collaboration there. So new website. Okay, period. Oh wow. I think something that we'll probably end up talking about is I know Musab and I like something we ran on our platform was getting athletics to cover, and I think this was talking about in the last GBM, the club sports because that's like $300,000 out of SAC's budget. And we think that it should be falling under athletics. But does anyone have any immediate agenda topics right now?
Asking about NIL and how they can stay competitive. The parameters of the Ivy League sets.
Yeah, we asked them about this last year. They usually just say like they're not doing it. But we're still gonna bring it up. But like they always say, like basically, for the athletes that come here, what they pay them is the education, the Ivy League education, and that should be beneficial enough.
So about all being eligible for CS playoffs.
You know?
We had our CES meeting last week and I know someone mentioned. I can't remember the question, maybe we can speak up, but it was like something about like the courts be like when they're empty. And like when someone can like use it and like whether or not the athletes are there, I don't know.
What courts?
There's like Palestra, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like are you asking
When
can
it's
they be
not in
used?
use, yeah, would it be able like to be open to reserve for other club sports thing?
Yeah.
I don't know who asked the question, I just remember it was mentioned in the video.
I will say, like, I think as far as the reserval process goes, this is something that happened a lot last year. Is like people would ask about like the cost of space in events, for example. They'd probably charge like an outrageous fee to do that. But I will ask what that process looks like and how much that would be. Andrew.
Yeah, can we ask a little bit more information about what goes into fees, especially for like men part?
I know, I think recognizing Penn sailing is a must-be sport.
Have they been recognized yet? No, still not.
I know it's always a topic every time, so.
Okay. Any other questions for athletics?
Just how they're coordinating with FIFA for the World Cup and what teams are training here, how that's.
Yeah, because they're using our
They're
fields.
using prototype.
Yeah.
Another question.
Hmm?
Pierce will probably talk about it as well, but for the ice rink, I don't know if they manage it
Ice
at
rink
all,
costs.
and the fees.
Yeah.
They charge a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for athletics? Yeah.
This is kind of a curiosity point, but I'm curious as to like what the inflow cash looks like. Like, does the university make any profit from selling tickets to like people outside of the Penn community? Seems somewhat relevant given the prevalence and the scale of money moving around, especially with the conversation about paying athletes.
Okay. Good question.
And like attendance.
Attendance
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys been to a football game yet? Raise your hand.
Over.
Hmm.
What's question?
Have you been to a football game yet? If you are above a freshman and you've yet to go to a football game, shame on you. They're actually doing quite well this year in general. Like they're doing really well. So and they're fun. They're fun to go through. Okay. Any other questions for athletics? AJ, what?
The last time I went to a football game, I heard it from other people who have gone to football games that there's like this like camp that they're like looking for funds for a science camp for kids on campus that are looking for donations, whether it's about the Tulsa, I think it's Camp Kisan, something like that. I was just wondering how can other clubs or how can we advocate for other organizations? This organization is like always the one providing the total or the one that we're like actively giving our money to, like during football.
I see. Shakar, who's not here, is like very active in that. I don't know if there's anyone else who's involved with Kesem. No. I think like an initial question would be like in general, like I don't know if there's like a long-term like working relationship they've already established and that's why it's only them. But we can ask.
Yeah, like how can we open that up?
There's a lot. I don't know what. No.
Madeline.
I am Kesem, and I think it's like a big tradition for them to go. Like Toast is one of the main pieces of fundraising because it's like fundraising is the main goal for the summer camp. So I think they designate Toast mainly for themselves because that's a large place of fundraising.
Do you know if they provide the toast too? Or does athletics do it? Cassim does? Yeah, any other questions? Okay, and that's all for me.
Okay. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah.
Can you guys put the laptops away, please?
Okay. I apologize for the connection. If I cut out, I tried to write out things in depth on the agenda. First two meetings not covered. Third one, we had UC steering. University council is essentially like all the heavy hitters in the school come and have a forum. We discuss ideas to try and form a sense of communication. UC steering is essentially the prep meeting for that meeting. Naya and I sit on it along with all the other leads of the other relevant administrators. We also had UC Prep. UC Prep is a group that I lead, which is with like 13 other student representatives. And we kind of game plan what we want to do for the next university council meeting, which is next week. And then Naya covered the Jameson Upper Avenue. Any questions on those? Okay. Upcoming meetings, Naya covered the first one. Second, we have university council. I heavily encourage you to come if you're interested. There'll be a focus presentation on dining. You can kind of see how university council works. If you're free on Wednesday, from 4 to 6 p.m., email that and just say like, hey, I'm interested in coming. Here's my like 10ID number. Okay. And then this is what I wanted to gauge from you guys. There's going to be a vote that the UA has a vote on, which is renaming the committee on diversity and equity into the committee on belonging. This comes like relatively from an increasing pressure to rename DEI practices across the university. Every single other representative on the UC who are students are voting no to this. And before obviously like we would make a vote, I wanted to know what your guys' perspectives on this were, and then kind of get a gauge whether to vote yes or no. Currently leading to voting no for the following reasons. Everyone else is voting no. I think they look pretty inconsistent and poor. Wait, also someone's scrolling right like on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm scrolling.
And then like the second reason is simply like I think it can feel reductive to rename things even if the programmatic functions of those things don't change. For example, with Umoja, we had to rename Black Convocation into William Aguirre, like Ida Elizabeth Asbury welcome ceremony, which is like to a degree it feels like erasure even if the event itself is not being erased. And so I think the sentiment was that renaming this committee, even if it's minor, even if it's just one single committee, it still feels as though a form of erasure, a form of a reductive policy. And the last one is like just a form of saying no. Obviously, Penn has taken a stance against the Trump administration. It's unclear why this is a thing they need to bow down towards. And then for the other side, an argument to vote yes for the name change is simply that like it's a proactive measure to avoid future federal punishment. Curious to know how you guys think we should vote.
Anyone else besides Mo? Okay, Mo.
I have a question. Are we like outnumbered by the faculty or admin?
Yeah, it's gonna pass likely. Like the name's gonna change. It's more how should we vote symbolically.
And just to, because the sound is not the best, again, UCE is changing the name of the committee on D&E, diversity and equity, to committee on belonging. Everyone else as a student is voting no. We're asking how the UA should vote as well, or what your thoughts are on this in general. We're probably going to vote no. But also wanted to get you guys' input. Noting that it's still going to get.
What's
up? Can you mute yourself?
I believe that we should vote no for the instance. First, it's symbolic, like we should not really read into it too much. Like it's passing either way, and like UA being the only student that's saying yes would really look bad. Like we are against the way for all students, and we should be representing the students first. And second, most importantly, like it depends on the values of the UA. Are we total like in favor of these changes, like name changes or not? And it's more like symbolic and historical point of like, point of view.
Yeah, then I guess I'm curious to know, what are you guys' thoughts on the name changes that have been happening across the university? They've pretty much calmed down now because they took place last year. So.
I think like to agree with Khalil, like either way, like if it's in fear of like the government doing stuff, like you didn't sign the compact, so probably gonna get caught up in something there. So like, again, there's a symbolic aspect, but I also think there's an aspect of like irreversibility. Like this is a slippery slope if you think because of fear mongering, you can just change it from like what goes to being like what happens to like eventually like other student organizations that are more visible. Like students won't be able to even identify them because at that point we're all been told that we have to like basically closet all our names or like individuality because of fear of like repression.
Yeah.
I totally agree, and I feel like one, it feels a little bit performative, but also I feel like it sets kind of a gate precedent for the future. And like if we're doing this now, I feel like this is going to happen again and again and again with other clubs and organizations. And then the other point that I was gonna bring up is that if we've already rejected the compact, like I feel like it wouldn't be that crazy. I mean, I know it's happening either way, but it wouldn't be bad for us to vote against it because we've already like stood our ground as a university.
Cleo?
Personally, my only issue with like name changes. Okay, we are changing the names, but what if like they go after you the functions of the committees like in 6 months? If you're gonna like keep saying, okay, yes, we are abiding by the federal government, and at some points they can like really control everyone.
Anyone else? Okay, Lisa?
Okay, looks like we're voting no. Okay, and then lastly, some like sentiments and thoughts on what I had about all this email. I'm just gonna read this word for it because I think my Wi-Fi is gonna cut out likely. I think we've seen a lot of the broader feedback on side chat and like colloquially, I'm sure your fans have talked to you about it. I think there's two broad lessons to take away from this. First is that there's likely now an upper bound that we've realized to the type of communication with the rest of the student body and how we phrase things. In that I think it's very, very good for the UA to be out there claiming credit for things we've done and telling people no.
Oh.
Side chat get to him?
Okay, well, we can all pretty much read it. Lisa, I don't know if you can hear us, but you're frozen. So I'll keep going for you. But yeah, like I'm also in alignment. Can you bring that back?
Yeah, we focus up, please.
With the fact that I think it is good for the UA to say what our involvement is in these things and how we are advocating for students. I think that in the future as well, that we'll probably try to be a lot more proactive and future focused as possible. So you said like for example, on October 1st, we could have sent out an email and potentially like a referendum to gauge student perspective on the compact. That's a great point. We thought about it much later on. Really doing type of survey as to what students wanted. We could have thought about this more initially. Again, like this is unprecedented times. This is not the easiest thing to be like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. I think there's a lot of things we're learning from this experience. And then we could have phrased the email something more like, we have met with XYZ and we'll continue to keep students in convo by meeting with XYZ, which I kind of touched on earlier. And then he said that he thinks it's really important to claim where the UA has an impact on the school, especially in these really big decisions. But it's also equally important to do so in a way that advances the public perception of the UA. And this was like a learning point to steer our future communication, which I'm also in complete alignment with. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Does anyone agree or disagree with what was said? Luxar?
Maybe general procedural question. So does this change like how you as the president or how Lucem as the vice president like communicates, or is that like something that the communications director is going to be more vigilant of in UA communications?
I think it'll continue to be like for this one specifically. This was a joint effort between Musa, myself, and Taya. Probably will continue to do that, like keeping this feedback in mind. When I'm sending something on behalf of myself versus because again, like the body wasn't like super involved in this process because there were so many confidential meetings, so you guys literally just couldn't be, which is why I thought it was important for us to do. But when it is broader, I think I will obviously include more of the UA and we'll probably bring more formal things. If we were to like write a letter to Trump or the Trump administration thing, then obviously the body would be there for that. Like we'd have to go through an entire process. Same thing with like that compact statement that we signed on to the joint one with the other schools. Exec signed on to it. If we would have had to brought it to the body and had the UA sign on to it as a whole, which some of the other schools did, we would have had to present it at one GBM and then we could have signed on to it to the next GBM. And obviously we had like a 3-day turnaround for this entire thing. So just to give you an example of what that would look like, the process is really long. Anyone else? Yes.
I definitely feel like people were making too much of a big deal out of it because like I didn't see anything wrong with the email, but I really like the idea of like I know that like it was a really short time span, but I really think it would be good to like send it while it's like actively going on. That way people, because there's a lot of people like that low-key did not even know that this was going on. And so I think if like we let them know like what you're doing and like what you're gonna continue to do, I think it would be a lot more effective. I think
Yeah.
It will be a lot, it's like completely.
No, definitely agree. It definitely did not help that it was in the middle of like fall break. We didn't have a
Yeah.
PBM for 2 weeks. I would have obviously brought it up much earlier on if that was a thing. I think this also brings up another question is like, I said something on Slack about it. I don't think everyone here does read their Slack, which is another problem. It's like, how do we have more effective communications with the body? 'Cause I don't think you all see the Slack sometimes. So if anyone has any thoughts or ideas on how we can increase communication, people have like recommended a group me. I have mixed feelings about that because like we have so many mass group chats on GroupMe already that like people just ignore. I think Slack is the most efficient. I also think that when you guys get a job or internship, you're probably going to use Slack. It's not that in Teams and that sucks for you, but like Slack is probably going to be used majority of your like more professional career. Bobby.
I'm just wondering like what, if this is from Exact or from anyone else, what the reception from their like peers in person was, cause I like generally heard like positive perception of the UA email from people I talked to. And I know there were like people on side chat and there was like 4 or 5, but like I think that's like, it's just like the minority that's like speaking up, that's like complaining about it. And like maybe that's a misrepresentation, but I feel like it wasn't as bad as that made it seem. Like I don't know if you experienced that from like talking to people, but I think
Yeah.
like people post online that they didn't like it, but then like no one really thought it was bad with that.
Yeah, I also think like there were like 2 or 3 of the posts that were like repetitive, so I kind of felt like it was like the same person low key. Like someone was like, the way how they did all that, and then they're like, I didn't get elected in parentheses. So like I don't really know. But like it didn't help that like both those messages got like over 600 votes. So obviously there was a majority that did think that. I think in the end, like it's still a minority out of the entire student population. I'm sure not everyone was like, man, what is this? Something like that. I did not personally hear anything. I received several emails, people actually thanking me. A professor reached out as well, thanking me as well for like our courageousness. I think Musab, who's gone now, did get some feedback from some of his peers. I think it seemed like I think the way that it was taken for some people was that like we were bragging almost. Which again is like a phrasing issue, especially with in that subject line. Pablo, did you have something to say?
Wait, yeah, just going back to the how to communicate to like the UA
Yeah.
efficiently. I was thinking, I don't know how everyone feels, but I think I check my email more than this, to be honest. So I think if it's like something like that is urgent, it needs to be handy. You send an email with like urgent, and then to like all the people.
Okay.
Or I mean, maybe also the Slack, but I think it's more likely to do so to see it if you send it and Slack.
Okay.
And also, I was wondering like if there's a way for like maybe there should be like a standardized way to proceed with things of such as this that are like very like it's very needed for it to be fast. And maybe to gather like all the UA even like maybe we don't have a week to wait for the next UVM. But maybe just something that we can have people like an emergency meeting, I guess. Like
Yeah.
It's like quick students.
Yeah, so we've like explored other ways to do this, and I think we've done a lot. We did it last year.
Budget.
Yeah, we did like an emergency meeting, but per our bylaws, even that has to be 24 hours in advance. So like there were just some things like, for example, the meeting with Jameson, didn't know that was gonna happen. The compact thing definitely could have had a meeting with the body probably could have been on Zoom. I don't know. There's a lot of things that we can explore there. But like I think per our bylaws it has to be like 24 hours in advance if we were to do that. So like we could do something like that moving forward. Because the whole like process of a communications, like a broad communications is very long. It's a very long process. And that is an issue as well, I think, because especially in today's times, we have a lot more things that we need to respond to a lot faster, especially when we want to be more present in the student body. So one over here, about you.
I just think another thing with Slack is like if it's something really critical or like something that's time sensitive, like make sure to use like at channel or like just like make it like functional like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's also a large part of it. And I also think there's a couple people who aren't on the Slack that I noticed when I was going through the website. So just make sure you're on Slack.
Yes. Leo, I'm sorry. I think you had your hand raised earlier.
Yeah, I did. It was regarding the no vote for the university council. All good if we return to that briefly.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So this might be a point of order. Mr. Speaker has the call on this, but I would call for a division of the House to see what people's thoughts are on the yay nay for that. Just a tad bit of formality on that, I think would be beneficial.
Sure, you could do that, just like a straw poll. To
wait, we wanna do a roll call vote, right?
Do you want division of assembly, Leo?
I not quite division of the assembly. I think a straw poll would be fine. I just thought, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Whatever you and whatever you guys think.
No, it's fair.
So, just to be clear, we're gonna ask if you're in favor for us to vote no, which would be voting no, not to change the name of the diversity and equity.
Voting no, not to change.
Oh.
But you're voting yes to tell us no. We can, okay.
How about this, just
We can just do yes and no. We'll do yes and no. So
the question is, are we gonna vote, like, will we change the
Yes.
name and then yes or no?
yes is to change the name. It's not change. Okay, so
Does that make sense? If you saying yes, you're saying yes, we should vote to change the name. No, we should not vote to change the name. Everyone.
yes, and we'll do Edward, just raise your table 10 if you're in favor of us voting yes to change the name. And people want to vote no. But this is overwhelming.
Did you see that? Whoa, Leo.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Cool. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns, statements, lack communication, Aiden?
I agree with the second point about how in the future, like, we should send an email beforehand to gauge student perspective.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, I feel like that email kind of came off in the way that, like, oh, look at what we did, and like this is like we did this, like, only us, and like you weren't involved in the decision. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the UA is like, it has to like represent the student body and their interests. So I feel like even before that meeting happens, we should reach out to students and be like, send us feedback through this form. We'll bring that to President Jameson in this meeting, and then we like send that as like a result of like what done for students, if that makes sense. But
Okay. Chenmei?
Yeah, I think adding on to what Aiden said, and I might have told you this last night as well, Naya. What I kind of heard from my friends was the message that they got was that they felt like the UA was saying that the UA had like some like very significant impact in rejecting the compact. So I think it would be beneficial if we maybe, I'm not saying downplayed what our impact was going forward, but put it in more in I guess more dense, more like less like encompassing words, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's all.
Pablo?
Well, just real quick on getting like students your opinion, on things moving forward.
Yeah.
I think if you do that, like send an email when that happens initially. And I know that DP, for example, had like a so maybe like having something like that.
Yeah.
Just have like a general idea of what students feel.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, the DP did reach out to me and asked me to send out that survey as well in all school. They asked to do that, I think it was like the Tuesday or Wednesday. After I found out that we were gonna meet in Jameson, I decided to hold off on sending that out because I didn't know what the decision was going to be. And things like, there was a lot of moving parts in terms of like how the communication was going to go, but that was the plan. Like I was planning sending out Thursday evening. Obviously we voted no, or sorry, we said we were gonna decline the compact. So I didn't end up sending that out. But even then we were like, wait, we should have done this ourselves and not like the DP. So like there are a lot of things that we can learn from there. Taya?
Yeah, I would just say I think it's important to strike a balance between promoting what the UA does and our role in Senate decisions, and then like being modest and erring on the side of modesty, because I think we can still gain a lot of respect and appreciation from the student body, even if we aren't outright like overtly promoting what we've done to like white students' concerns and perspectives. But I think this was like a good learning opportunity for us. And I don't think the overall sentiment from students is like overwhelmingly negative. So
Yeah. And like obviously I don't know if I need to clear it up, but like my goal, my intention for this was not to be like haha, look what we did, like, it wasn't, like, that was never my intention, not in that way at least. But there's obviously a difference between impact and intent, and unfortunately impact won here. I think it almost always will, so definitely a learning curve for me. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Ben.
It's kind of like adding on something Bobby said. I just don't think it's like that big of a deal to side chat criticism. Everyone on side chat is just like haters, you know? There's nothing that like we could possibly do that's positive that would get like 600 dollars. It's like only negative posts are gonna like get that much. So like, yes, you can like get like insight from anyone and like you can get insight from those comments, but I wouldn't like weight them significantly.
No, that's fair.
I guess this could be like the most I would say that you could even do different was just like to like edit the subject line the tiniest bit. Like it's just not I don't think it's a big deal.
I do, I think the subject line had a lot of weight there, Cameron.
Yeah, also like to go along with that, I don't know how much like people actually take side chat seriously. Like I feel like a lot of that app is just like trolling and just like trying to stir up drama. So I don't think that should be like a main source of criticism that we should be like looking at.
No, this is fair.
Incredible source of criticism.
This is fair. Any other thing? Well, thanks guys, because imagine my surprise when I opened side chat and it was UA and I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, we're in the press.
This is true. We've gotten a lot of publicity lately, guys. Lots of things been going on. Okay. Okay, that's all. Thanks.
So upcoming meetings, I'm meeting with Office of Government Community Affairs, Don, to get the signage for polling locations in the college houses. Either tomorrow or Tuesday. Real quick, the voter registration deadline's tomorrow. We do have an election this November in Pennsylvania. You can scan this, check your registration status, register online real quick. You can also vote early right now at 4029 Market Street. You can go during the day, during business hours, and you can go and vote early, but definitely make sure that you're registered to vote as the deadline is tomorrow.
There's also gonna be Killen's votes gonna be outside tabling tomorrow. I'll be there at 9:30%. So make sure if you're not registered yet, you can do that there.
Absolutely. And if you're registering online, just make sure to upload a signature at the end, otherwise your application will be rejected.
Love pizza and donuts. Sorry.
Some quick membership updates. Melody and Cindy have sat down. And then lastly, I've made a new form to sort of formalize the process for requesting Zoom links. So I'm gonna ask that folks fill this out every time, even if you have a recurring conflict. If you could fill this out, you could fill it out once and just put in every date that you're gonna need a Zoom link. Obviously Zoom is supposed to be a last resort, and I think we've had more people using it than we would like. So you know, it's really not ideal. You're also really supposed to have your camera on to be fully present. And this does need to be done. Thank you, Tommy. It does need to be done at least 24 hours before the GBM. But if you fill this out now, like Leo, for example, fill this out now and do it for all the remaining GBMs, and then he'd be set for the year, for the semester. So please fill this out from now on. I'll link it. I'll send it in the Slack, and I can send it in an email as well. But this is what I'll ask you all to fill out prior to at least 24 hours in advance if you're requesting a Zoom link. Great, thank you.
Hi everyone. So past meetings since like fall break, I met with Katie Bonner like 5 times actually. Hi Katie, if you're watching this. So we talked about SAC responsibilities, collaborations, confidential stuff. We talked about IGOB updates. I know we had a little interesting discussion a few weeks ago. We decided to table this because it needs further discussion, further changes to it. So yeah, then the UA Alumni Gift Fund, the proposal was sent to Katie Bonner and Laurie McCaffrey from University Life. I'm gonna set up a meeting with them soon. We're gonna talk about how we're gonna actually, well, if they're gonna approve it first, hopefully they do. And I'll lay the process of how we're gonna reach out to alumni. Then I met with SPEC, OSA, and me, and we talked about the SPEC Surplus and Reserve Fund. Basically, they generated around $100,000 revenue last year, and they're not supposed to take it back, but there was a clause that said that they can, so they took it all back. And then I met with Katie with SAC to talk about how the model is going to be changed and how to make the model more efficient.
Wait, can you discuss the relevance of SPEC taking back that $100,000 and how it impacts how we would have operated?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Sorry, real quick. Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, so basically, the reserve fund had over like $200,000. It was around like $280,000. And if the reserve fund is between $200,000 and $300,000, we can open the form in UA steering for all the organizations to bring proposals. That can benefit the student body. 2 years ago, when we were freshmen, SKU brought a proposal to establish a Sarah Katz Award, which is $40,000 awarded for 2 students a year, 1 to 2 students a year for around 8 years to do research over the summer on it was like a heart disease or something of that sort. So it was a really like good place for people to come collaborate, give ideas. Like one person discussed like sleeping pods on campus, take naps, like for class and stuff like that. So it was a very important thing. But then SPAC found out this little clause that said that they can take back any rollover money they had, and it was like you linked it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Over here, and it says that SPAC can take back any accumulated balance, and they made over $100,000 revenue from their ticket selling for Spring Fling, and they decided to take it back. So the reserve fund now dropped to $170,000, which means we can't open the floor for organizations to come and propose requests. So yeah. Great. Okay. Then a meeting with Katie Bonner and Tax Super Exec, my weekly meetings. And then Pearson, Eddie, and I are gonna have one-on-ones with all of the UA funded branches. So like think all other student governments like SKU, NEC, Class Board, etc. And we're gonna talk about their budgets and understand more about like what they're using, how they're using it, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's everything.
Okay. I don't really have any past meetings to talk about. So some upcoming meetings, I'm continuing talks with Michael Bernhardt in Business Services about airport shuttles. I'm continuing with my Center of Education and Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. Oh, excellence in teaching, learning, and innovation. And so then continuing the project with that. And so then the big thing that I'm doing this week is Mo and I are presenting at PSG Steering on Monday, tomorrow, a steering proposal about airport shuttles. So Mo just explained to you all of this stuff about revenue and the PSG Steering Fund and all that stuff. And so Mo and I made a proposal. I'll just show it. We're not going to present it. We made this proposal.
Oh gosh, really quickly, I also realized I don't even know if I actually explain what PSG steering is. It's literally like reps from all of Penn State government. And because we have this surplus that we can technically pull from this budget, we can vote to take 10% of
The $170,000
and put it into PSG steering, and then the PSG groups will be able to request money for various purposes, mainly internal purposes, like if they wanted to do retreat or like a yacht formal, which I advise not to do because what?
Yeah. So our internal purposes is our airport shuttles. And so we just stress the importance of the airport shuttles program. I know many of you are new, but UA has been doing this for a very long time, like over 20 years. And so it's very important. We've talked about in previous meetings about how we want the university to fully fund this. We've not covered so much ground on that, but we made a proposal to get additional money in addition to revenue costs about gaining more money for the shuttles in the future of this program. We already have some money from VPOL, which I've explained at previous meetings. So Mo and I will be presenting that tomorrow, sort of as guest speakers, because Nye and Aiden are our representatives to PSG steering. Okay, so then now for something more fun. Mo and I, okay, so a big goal of exec this year was to try to do more socials, and we've had a lot of big socials throughout the year, or like so far this year. But we want to start doing some small socials. So Mo and I decided to do like a weekly social sort of idea where we're gonna cap participants at like 5 to 7 people and sort of do things on a smaller scale. So this week we're doing a movie night on Friday night. We're doing a Halloween themed movie night at Mo's house, and we just made this Canva.
What's Freedom present?
Oh, Wait, no, I don't know why this says this. Okay, whatever. I'm bad at Canva, guys. This is why I'm not comms director. But anyway, don't laugh at me, guys. I even
Least logically savvy secretary of ever.
Alright. We're doing a movie night on Friday. Please scan the QR code for if you want to participate. We're watching Hocus Pocus. We're gonna cap it at 5 to 7 people, so if you guys are interested, let us know. It's at Mo's house. That's all from me.
Okay, if we get focus up, we should be done in like 10 minutes.
Actually, yeah. I went to the APS.
Guys, can we list, please?
I went to APSC constituents meeting last week, and none of the student groups there actually knew how to submit a SAC funding request using the SAC online portal, because this year you have to submit their contingency and not the annual budget. And like I also went to SOS, and they were like, oh, like we'll let you know like more updates later, and they kind of never sent out an email. So I wonder if we can bring that up with Katie, that I think the majority of student groups, unless they know someone personally who works with SAC or like a 7B group, are really confused on actually how to submit a funding request. And then secondly, I'm also just curious on if they selected the rest of the members for whatever like SAC the committee is gonna be.
Yeah, so I can talk to Katie about it, see if we can host like a meeting for anyone like student body, right? But I feel like also we're getting like over 90 like applications every like 2 weeks. So I think there's people who can do it, maybe there's other people who are not able to do it, but we can look into that. And for your second question, selections, yeah, they are like, applications close on Thursday. We're gonna release like decisions early next week, hopefully, and then train the students too.
Yeah, well, I think for also just the SAC process, I think like the SAC website is just really outdated right now, especially considering how many changes.
Really? Wait, I'm pretty sure it's updated, like
there's like a page that says like funding guidelines, but that's the same page that's always been there. But it's not really a page on like how to submit a funding request.
Okay, so you want something that's more like how to actually like, so step by step, basically. Okay.
I have a comment to add. If you're like a part of the club or a group, Katie recently sent out an email, basically with the steps, and I believe there was also a video in there. And then there's also like, she sent a link, like a Calendly, to like for student groups to be supported by, and then go see Katie Bonner directly. It's like a group of people from like SAC, and like they're there to like assist the clubs and like how to submit a budget code, like how to get a budget code, how to transfer the treasurer access from like the last person to the new treasurer, and like things like that. It's like basically a Q&A, but like personalized, and it's like 15-minute appointments. The club should have received anything from that.
Okay, I'll be presenting DeSilva's section because he's not here. He's meeting with the University Council Committee on Facilities this week for project updates. Tanisha is continuing to work with Government House and meeting with Katie to discuss that further. Our committee-wide project, super excited about recycling audit. There's been a lot of documented evidence of Penn not actually recycling, mixing the trash with the recycling. So we're gonna get out there. I know this has been a passion project for Leo as well. We're gonna get out there, see if we can tail a truck to the transfer facility. We're also hoping to have a tour of Waste Management, which is the contractor that we use. So we're gonna do an audit, figure out what's going on, and see how we can make sure that things are actually being recycled. Andrew is working on, or Julie is working on getting a map that shows access to reproductive health care. Yadu's been working on revamping DAB and RSAB and getting those to be more formalized external seeds. I have obviously done the OGCA stuff, and then Tomby is resubmitting the Green Fund application, and we'll hopefully have the composting bins up at the latest by next semester.
Wait, Tommy, what happened to the green fund that was like allocated before?
So with the timeline, oh wow, okay. With the timeline of things that was going on, and also like communication with Penn sustainability, some things were not aligning with our communication and the actual processes that were happening. So because of that, we had to push it back a little bit. And because we're pushing it back, the timeline changed, which is why we have to resubmit the green fund application. That answers your question.
Any other questions? Great. And we should be done in just a few minutes if we could put the laptops away one more time. Ben, do you not have anything?
I have nothing. Should I even come up or should I
No,
just?
you're good.
All right, yeah.
Very efficient.
Be quick. So I have my upcoming meeting for campus and community life. One exciting collaboration opportunity that I wanted to extend to the body was brought by Penn Sustainability, but it's in collaboration with UC Green, which is an organization from West Philly that kind of works to like bring more like sustainability initiatives and more like liveliness to the West Philly neighborhood. There's going to be just like a tree planting ceremony on November 15th at 10 a.m. that you all are welcome to come to. Just RSVP using this link here. It's just like a very chill event, kind of just to get to know more people in West Philly. We might help with like the tree planting as well. Go for vibes. And if you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'll communicate all of like the transportation logistics. And then just some quick project updates. AJ is working kind of like on the STEP the UPass pilot program. We're looking to like expand that to more of like committee wide or like getting more members involved. We want to make that happen. Gustav is advancing on his TSO project and is collaborating with Yushal on that now. And then Ryan created a lot of project ideas for new members. You guys should definitely take a look at that. They're CES related, but there's always a lot of opportunities for collaborating with CES members, even if you're on another committee. And then for committee members, just a reminder to fill out the project planning template. But that is all.
And then hey guys, it's me again. Pierce is not here, so I'm also going to present on her behalf. Just really quickly, her and Nina met with NYU facilities because I don't know if you guys remember, one of the projects that some people in EI are doing is trying to get like a swap shop, like something of a sort here at Penn. NYU has one. Nina, I don't know if there's anything that you specifically want to highlight from this.
I think one of the things that we talked about, it was a lot of work is one thing, but they said it was really rewarding. They kind of like, I know that they like hired 2 interns during the summer to like get it to work, but I think we probably do, like we were talking about looking at like doing volunteering. And at their place, like everything was free, but I think we were looking like if there's like bigger items like chairs, microwaves, like we could like charge like a small fee, like 'cause there's a lot of schools that do this. Like, I don't know, like, and we're looking into like talking or like researching the other schools too. But yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, and they kind of just like gave tips on what they think that we should do in order to get our school on board. It's like obviously like all those big questions that are like on the project proposals, like how do we get funding, how do we get people on our side, who needs to be on our side, and then they like outline a couple rules here. I'm sure that they will make like progress here somewhere, but I'm excited for this project to go out. Yeah,
I think it'd be interesting to talk about Penn Sustainability to see if they'd be willing to hire like a summer student worker thing, like NSOAI and other offices. They have like summer interns. That could be an idea.
It's a good point.
And they do have cohort of interns every semester.
Penn Sustainability does?
Yes.
Oh, grand.
Maybe it can be added to their list of.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this? Okay, grand.
And comments.
Hi everyone.
Hey.
I don't have any crazy updates. There are a few things. Starting off, Bobby's been working on the websites. We've updated a few things, like some old links that weren't working, as well as all your bios and headshots. But there are a few of you that haven't filled it out yet. So please scan this QR code and fill it out. There's a template on Yes, I'm gonna name and shame people. There's a template on the form, so you can literally copy that and fill in the blanks. It will take 2 minutes, I promise.
Please listen up, please, let's.
It will take 2 minutes. You can literally just copy the template and then we can add all of you guys. Yes, the people that haven't done it. We have to scroll. Mariam, Chinmay, Tanvi, Eddie.
Go.
Ben, Aiden, Yadu, Aeon, Alejandra, Solon, Tanisha, Megan, Michelle, Kennedy, Juan, David, Sahasra, Mania, Kanaya, sorry.
Wait, really quickly, could you pull up the UA website and show the body what it looks like? I see it's been updated.
Yeah.
Great job, Bhavya.
I just.
Go UA website.
Or like I knew.
Go to the UA website.
Sorry.
It's like
Also, just in general, if you aren't happy with how your headshot or your bio looks, or you see that there's something on the website that you think can be improved or changed, like just reach out to Bhavya, or myself, but Bhavya is our main website person.
Wait, one thing too is we like used to have a contact sheet that would have everyone's contact information if someone wanted to reach out to you about one of your projects. We got rid of that and we're just doing emails on bio. So if you want your email in your bio and you submitted your bio like without your email, just Slack me and I will put your email and just like Slack me your name and your email.
Look at all the missing people.
Could you drop the form link in the Slack?
Yes, we can drop in the Slack, and Julia, can you put it on the meeting minutes when you send that out?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, like in the email. But I'll post that in the Slack as well. So yes, this is what it's gonna look like. Soon it will be all filled with everyone's beautiful faces. But yes, thank you guys for filling that out.
Go to the does it again,
Sure.
and then go to executive.
Oh, for an example.
Yeah. And then really quickly, I just wanted to point out how great my headshot is.
Oh. Well, yes, she looks beautiful.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, besides for that, O&E is planning some UA tabling. While the weather is still warm, we want to be out there engaging with students. So we'll probably be needing volunteers. So if you have time and if you're available, we would love for people to join in and just put the UA out there and engage with students. Press secretaries, DP column and newsletter coming soon. Welcome to all our noobs. We have 5 new comms members, so very excited for them to join our team. And then finally, if you guys have videos and photos from retreat, please send them to me. You can just text them to me. You can email them if you want, or add them to the shared album, and then we'll make some nice content from retreat. Cool. Oh, and finally, I've spoken about this before, but some of you may not know, we have a marketing request form. It's on the Google Drive in the comms folder. I've attached it here as well. But if for any reason you need comms to help you out with a project that you're doing or anything like that, just fill this out. You can obviously reach out to us as well. But then we can help you make graphics or content or anything like that. Yeah, thanks guys.
For new business, are there any topics for new business? Anyone have any documents to present? Seeing there aren't any, do we have any motions? I know I'll say before we entertain any motions. Leo, did you still want to say something during communications?
Oh yeah, I did communications question.
Oh, a communication question, not like a communications fun activity.
Oh, I was just wondering who won the sheet game at the retreat.
I don't know how to say like who won, because we did like the split up in teams, but the team that was on the right side won. That's not relevant to you, but
Let's see, Naya got a name, that's what matters.
Was there an MVP of the sheet game?
no.
Highlight reels?
was me.
When Andrew called You called me, Demi Charmaine. Coach Charmaine sent me, and you may not understand why that's relevant, but if you just take a look at
We're
it.
still being live streamed, so keep that in mind. Okay, good. Anything else, Leo?
No, thank you.
Are there any topics, new business or motions?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Select members, all those. Any opposed? It is adjourned.
Like, that's it.
I did, yeah.